Today I'm going to show you how to make your very own pepperoni cheesy bites pizza the Pizza Hut way at home. This pizza is super easy to make. Don't be fooled by, thinking it's super hard. It's not. It's very easy. If you can make a regular pepperoni pizza, you can make this. So for this recipe, you're going to need some homemade pizza dough. You could also use store-bought refrigerated if you'd like. But I have a separate video that shows how I make my pizza dough. I will put a link to that down below. You're also going to need some shredded mozzarella cheese. You're also going to need pizza sauce, of course. Again, you could use homemade or pre-bought. You're also going to need pepperoni or toppings of your choice, some string cheese, melted butter, and garlic powder. So let's get started. Now, I've already gone ahead and made up my pizza dough, and I've covered that, let it rise for an hour until it was doubled in size. And now I'm going to place this onto a 16-inch pizza pan. A lot of people have asked me on my previous pizza videos where I get my pizza pans. This is just a cheap $2 Walmart pizza pan. It's made of aluminum. It's super thin and lightweight, which is exactly what you want for pizza because it lets the heat go right through the pan, right to the crust, so you get a nice evenly done crust. But you want to pat your pizza dough all the way out to the edges of your pan. And I'm just using my fingertips to do this. Work around the dough evenly so it stays circular. And you just want to pat this out until it goes about a ½ inch or so beyond the edge of the pan, because we're actually going to be folding the edges up and over around cheese. But once you get your crust spread all the way out, you want to take some string cheese. This is just the regular old individually wrapped string cheese that you can buy for like $1 a piece. Go ahead and unwrap those. I'm using 8 pieces for this 16-inch pizza. You want to place those evenly around the edge of the crust. And then you want to take the very edge of the crust and fold that up and over your cheese sticks, encapsulating them completely. And once you get those completely encapsulated, go around and press down the crust. Make sure that those edges are sealed, so there's no air pockets or anything in there. You want the dough wrapped tightly around the cheese sticks. Then I'm going to take a knife, and you can actually see where the individual sticks are. You want to cut between the sticks and then cut each stick into 3 equal pieces. It does not have to be perfect. Just eyeball this. There's no need to get out a ruler and measure anything. Just eyeball it. Close enough is good enough for this. And then to actually form the crown of cheesy bites, if you will, you just want to take each piece here and you want to pull it up and flip it 90 degrees. When you turn these over, make sure that that sealed side where the seam is of the dough stays on the bottom, so that way when you bake it, they stay sealed, that they don't come undone. And just go around and turn each of these pieces 90 degrees. They don't have to be touching. It's perfectly fine if there's space between them. That's actually preferable because this dough will kind of rise and spread out as it bakes. And now we can go ahead and build the toppings on our pizza. I'm just going to take my pizza sauce here. Again, I will put a link that shows how I make that down below. It's super simple. It's tomato paste, water, basil, oregano, onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of salt, I think. But I'll put the recipe down below for that. I'm using about a ½ cup or so of sauce, and just using the back of the spoon, I'm going to spread an even layer of this all the way across the bottom of my pizza dough. You want to make sure that that sauce goes all the way up to the edges of the pizza bites, but don't go real heavy on this pizza sauce. Using too much sauce ends up making like a soggy crust. That's not good. So just use a thin layer. And then I'm going to top this with some shredded mozzarella cheese. Now, a lot of people ask me how I get my cheese really melty on my pizzas. The secret is I grate my own mozzarella cheese. Just buy the block of low moisture mozzarella cheese, grate it on a grater. The pre-shredded stuff has cellulose on it, which kind of impedes the meltiness of the cheese. So whenever you can, if you're going to melt cheese, buy the block of cheese and shred it yourself. But I ended up using about 6 ounces of cheese here. You just want to spread that evenly, again, all the way to the edges of the cheesy bites. And then I'm going to top my pizza with pepperoni. You could use whatever toppings that you wish. I'm just keeping it simple and using pepperoni. When you do use pepperoni, because pepperoni shrinks up in the oven when you bake it, place your pepperoni slices close together, almost overlapping them a little bit, and go as heavy on the pepperoni as you want. This is your pizza, your time to make it how you want. And then you want to bake your pizza in a preheated 450 degree Fahrenheit oven, and you want to bake this for about 12 minutes or so. You want to bake it until the crust is nicely golden brown, the cheese is nicely melted, and it just starts to brown a little bit on the top. And once everything is nicely golden brown, you can go ahead and remove it from your oven. And because I like soft and squishy bread, especially with cheesy bites, I'm just going to take a little bit of melted butter and using a pastry brush, just brush the tops of these with butter. That's going to make these cheesy bites nice and soft. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this is how I'm doing it. But once I got that covered with the melted butter, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder right on top. Now, if you were smart, you would have mixed the garlic powder with the butter, but I was not thinking when I made this. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little garlic powder right on top. But then go ahead and cut this into slices and serve it up. But there you go. That is how you make a Cheesy Bites pepperoni pizza the Pizza Hut way. And if you wanted to, you could substitute hot dogs for the cheese, and you can make yourself a hot dog bites pizza. Works the exact same way. Here's a picture of that for you. And there you go. Impress your husband or wife, impress your children, make yourself a pizza at home from scratch. It's super easy, super delicious, definitely worth it.